Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. I have had so many requests, so many DMs, comments on my other YouTube videos being like, when is your update? And today is the day. I'm gonna fill you in on absolutely everything. So I had my surgery on the 1st of June. I'm like 9 weeks post-op, which actually I feel like I had them done way longer than that. But I also remember surgery day like it happened yesterday. I did do a vlog. I feel like it was a very in-depth detailed one, so I'll link it on the screen here. It was me just documenting my recovery. I feel like it was really raw, really honest. Today's video I actually just really want it to be as educational and as informative as possible. I found that when I was doing my research, I mean, I must have watched about 50 to 100 vlogs, I'm not even kidding. I was always coming away after watching each video with questions, and I don't want you to watch this video and come away with questions. You're probably thinking about embarking on this journey. Maybe you've booked in a consultation or a surgery date. I also want to say first and foremost, I'm not promoting surgery. If you are a younger woman watching this video, I really don't want you to be influenced by my decision. Please do your research, really think about this procedure. I didn't take this lightly, and do you know what, I could sit here and justify my decision and why I did it, but ultimately I did it for myself, for nobody else. I've wanted this done for half of my life, so 15 years. I'm 30. I feel like I'm a grown woman. I own my own business, so I am capable of making a decision like this, but trust me, it wasn't one that was taken lightly. So if you want to hear all about my breast augmentation journey, carry on watching this video. I actually did ask some questions on Instagram, so I'm going to cover the main ones, obviously, like why I got it done, size, cost, surgeon, all of that, but I did have some other interesting questions as well, so I really hope you enjoy it. If there's anything you feel that I've missed, you can DM me, you can pop a comment on this video, and I'll be sure to answer it. I'm also going to link this little activewear set. It's from Adenola. I'll stand up for you. The colour is absolutely gorgeous. I probably will put another top on as well, just to show you what my boobs look like in different tops, because let's face it, you guys are going to be staring at my tits for the entirety of this video. I know that I did when I was watching them, and a lot of girls covered up, and I'm like, I want to see the boobs. So do bear in mind that this sports bra is padded. I find that my boobs do look very up there in sports bras, because you can kind of like manipulate your boobs. You can pull them in and lift them up, kind of thing. So do bear that in mind. This is the biggest they're gonna look, but let's get straight into the video. I really hope that you enjoy it, guys. So I think I'll start with the most obvious question, why I decided to get this done. I touched briefly upon this just a second ago, but there's pros and cons to having small boobs. There really are. I feel like small boobs, you can wear whatever the hell you want, go braless, not have to think about it. But I had small boobs, but the shape wasn't very nice. I mean, one was over here, one was over here. I'll actually insert a picture here. Like, oh god, I can't believe I'm posting this online. This was, I tried on the surgery bra. I got the Macon one. I tried it on before I went into my surgery. So this is what my boobs look like. Oh my god, I literally can't believe it. And then here's a picture of what they look like the day of surgery in the same bra. As you can probably tell, I had no projection on the top. One was slightly off this side, one was slightly off that side, which is completely normal. They were normal small boobs. Nothing wrong with them, but I was always dissatisfied. I would have sex with my boyfriend with the lights off. I would keep my t-shirt on. When I put on a push-up bra, honestly, I felt like $1 million. It just, I was so insecure. Nobody really realizes, you know, your internal struggles or how unkind you can be to yourself. And I would stand in the mirror naked sometimes and just cry at my boobs. I really didn't like them. Ironically, everyone's like, itsy bitty titty club, woo. Which, yeah, like I said, you can wear a lot of things. But for example, the Zara Racer tank top, I just felt so self-conscious in that. I felt like I needed to wear a bra with it because I hated the shape. I think more than anything, I hated the shape of my boobs, not necessarily the size. It was the shape. I did really think about this decision for years. Like when I was 15, I got my period and my boobs didn't grow. Even when I went on the pill, they really didn't grow. I think they probably went up to maximum a B. As soon as I came off the pill, they deflated. Being on holiday in bikinis, always had to get those like padded bra type bikinis. I felt really flat chested in sports bras. Balcony bras, I always wanted to wear those really pretty lace balcony bras, and I just never could because I just couldn't fill it. It looked ridiculous. So I think what I started off as was a 32A, but I don't really know if I was a 32A. Like when I laid back, I always had like space on the top. I really just was dissatisfied, and it took me a long time to reach the decision of having breast augmentation. I'm the kind of person where something so big as breast augmentation, like guys, believe me, I did not take it lightly. Obviously it's expensive, the downtime, it's a huge procedure that comes with risks as well. But I just put it off for the longest time, and once I reach a decision, it does take me a long time to get there. I go all guns blazing. Yeah, I just felt like for me, there was no going back. And actually, after evaluating the risks, writing a pros and cons list, I felt for me that the surgery outweighed the possible risks that come with the surgery. Before I made my decision, before I went for my consultation with my surgeon, I wasn't actually aware of something called breast implant illness. Do your research, it is quite scary, and I did stall my decision. So I went to my consultation with my surgeon, and he obviously did tell me about breast implant illness, and I went away, did my own research, and some of it was pretty horrifying, I'm not gonna lie. I did put my decision on hold probably for about a month because I wanted to go away, make an informed decision, make it purely for myself, and just know and have the risks in front of me. So yeah, basically, long story short, that in a nutshell is why I decided to have it done. It was ultimately, I wanted bigger boobs. There were things that I always wanted to wear, like little milkmaid tops, and just fill out dresses and just make my clothes look a little bit better. But this is by no means saying if you have small boobs, get a boob job. I think for me as well, I just knew that it was going to give me this confidence, and that for me is priceless. So that is pretty much why I decided to have it done. So how much did it cost, and do you think it's worth the cost? I had it done at a private hospital. So it's the Hospital of St John and St Elizabeth in St John's Wood. I paid a little bit more for the aftercare and being in a private hospital. So I think the procedure all in all fell short of £7,000. So I think it was literally £6,995, and that included all my consultations. I did have to pay a consultation fee of £200. So because of COVID, I did my first consultation via Zoom. Literally got my tits out on Zoom. That was that was a personal highlight for me. Literally love that for me. Neighbours can probably see, blinds wide open. You don't have to do that, but I was like, well, I'm gonna go and see him face to face anyway, so let's just like cut to the chase, you know. So that was 100, and then the face-to-face consultation. So if COVID wasn't obviously happening and the pandemic, then you would go straight in for a face-to-face consultation. Obviously the surgeon wants to limit contact with people, you know, general public. They have to split it up. So what that £200 was deducted from the overall cost, or it just goes, you know, towards your surgery. So yeah, it was that included obviously the surgeon fee, all of the consultation fees, the aftercare, so like the nurses, all your tests that you have to do, and the anaesthetist fee. And they gave me like arnica tablets and things like that, and that was all included. The one thing I did have to pay for extra was pre-operative tests. So I had to have a COVID test, which cost me like £80, the most expensive COVID test of my life. Blood tests, like just general checks that you have to go through, well, that my surgeon required me to go through just to make sure that I was fit and healthy. So that was, I think, all in all just shy of £200. So I did pay a little bit more money. The surgeon, who I'll obviously speak a bit about next, is amazing. He's really credible, he's really well respected in his field, and I know other people who have gone through him and are absolutely delighted with the results. So I felt, for me, I really paid for his expertise, if anything, and the aftercare. I was really worried. So I did initially have a consultation with Maya, and I don't want to like slag them off or anything. With Maya, I really like the look of the after photos. I just didn't get a good feel from them. You're kind of like treated like a bit of a conveyor belt, in, out. I've heard the aftercare is shocking, and for me, I really needed reassurance from my surgeon, which is why I felt more comfortable paying a little bit more, knowing that, you know, I can contact the nurse, the patient coordinator, whenever I want. I can speak to my surgeon, there's always going to be someone there. And obviously I had my consultation, and I've had 2 follow-up appointments. I've got 1 more follow-up appointment. I really feel like the duty of care is there. The hospital was incredible. You'll see on my breast augmentation vlog, I show you hospital, my own private room. It was amazing. So yeah, I definitely feel like it was worth the cost. I've been saving up for this procedure for years, like probably since I was about 20, squirreling away a little bit into a separate account. It didn't feel like such a big hit, if that makes sense. There are finance options available for you, but they do have quite high interest rates. So for me, I've paid it. I don't have to worry about, you know, paying off monthly. But I know that obviously not everyone is in the position to do that, so there are options available for you. How did you decide what size to go for? Right, this for me was the hardest of them all, because my main concern was not going too big. I actually have quite broad shoulders, and I knew that having bigger boobs would just make my body like more proportionate, but I didn't want them to be too big. So I went in for my face-to-face consultation. I'll probably actually leave a little clip in here. So I think when I went to see, so Karidis, Alex Karidis was my surgeon. I went in, I explained what I wanted, and he just looked at, well, he did some measuring. He said, okay, the smallest I think you can go for is 315cc. So it's not in cup sizes, it works in cc. And the absolute biggest I would go for you is 375. So all of the vlogs I watched, 375 looked and came out ginormous on most women. And actually when I tried them on, so what it was, you don't get like a I know some surgeons are different. I didn't have like a kind of 3D, what's like, my boobs weren't put in a simulator basically. You have this awful surgery bra, and then you put a tank top over the top, so you'll see from the video, and then you pop the implants inside the surgery bra, and that's what they look like. The 375 felt massive. I felt like a porn star. I was absolutely, I said, look, these feel way too big. And he said, okay, that's fine. I put a t-shirt on over the top as well, because I wanted my clothes to still fit me. I didn't want to really have to like change my whole wardrobe to accommodate for these new boobs. Put a t-shirt on, and I was like, it went out like a tent, you know, it felt like a shelf. I was like, no, really don't like this. So I tried on the 315, but I felt a little bit underwhelmed with the 315. And there's this thing called boob greed, apparently. I mean, I actually don't have boob greed. I think I'm overall really happy with my size, but I felt that if I went for the 315, they would be too small. So he offered me 335. He said, well, you know, we can go somewhere in the middle. The difference between the implant size is literally a teaspoon. It's so minimal. So honestly, I wouldn't worry. Like if you went from 315cc to 415cc, you are going to jump a whole cup size, because it's like, I think 100cc thereabout is a whole cup size. Karidis was like, honestly, even if you go to 3.5, 3.55, the like it's so minimal, the difference, that you're not really gonna notice. So I went away, had to think about it, deliberated. They give you a 2-week cool-off period as well, so you can, you know, really think about it, not rush into your decision, which I think is really great. Like I didn't feel any pressure, it didn't feel salesy. I felt like they had my best interest at heart. Then I went back, I booked another consultation, I spoke to my patient coordinator, and I was like, I just don't know, the size feels, I don't know, like, I didn't try on the 355, I don't know if I'm going to be underwhelmed, like there's a single boob greed. So I went back in, they were so nice, they're so understanding, and obviously I said to Karidis, you know, this is my job, if I'm going to do it, I need to do it right. This was a 355 and then this was a 335. I think I prefer the size of this. That's the smaller one from the side, and then from the front, and then yeah, the side, I think this one.
Good like from me.
Yeah?
Yep.
The thing about Karidis is I feel like he's a man of little words. He just looks at you and knows what's going to look good for your body. But from my perspective, putting so much trust into my surgeon, putting my boobs in that physically in his hands is so daunting. I think I had decided on 335. You have literally up until the day of the surgery to change your mind, because you meet again with your surgeon. On the day, I actually left it in the hands of Karidis, and I came out with 355 Motiva high profile, wow, that is a mouthful, implants. I'll leave that on the screen here as well. Everything will be in the bio as well. My implant size, my height, my clothes size, because I feel like a lot of women miss that out. So 355 on, I don't know, so I'm 5'7.5", I'm quite tall, I've got quite broad shoulders, I always have, so my boobs always felt really just small on me anyway. If you are shorter, it's all about proportions. You can watch as many vlogs as you want, but that is not an indicator of how your breasts are going to turn out, and that is what I really was just like fixated on. I watched so many vlogs being like, oh my god, 315 on her looks absolutely massive, it's going to look like 335 on me is going to look ginormous. I was just working myself up so much. But your surgeon will look at you, he will do the measurements, he'll look at your body type, and he will know, or she, sorry, he or she will know. And 355 on me is going to look completely different on you, and that is the annoying part about breast augmentation, having a boob job. Everyone will get a completely different look, and 355cc sounds massive, but on me I feel like it's really well in proportion. But say on someone who is like 5'3", they're probably going to look a lot bigger. Because I'm taller, I think I can carry off a bigger implant. And also I had like no projection up here, it was all down here, so I think I needed a bigger implant to kind of give me that like roundness on the top. Are you happy with how they look? So one thing I will say, and this is something that I didn't know from watching other vlogs, it's not something that my surgeon necessarily said. They did, the patient coordinator said, look, you have to be patient, you're not going to like the look of them straight away, but it is the gift that keeps on giving. I quote. When I first had them done, and I spoke about this in my vlog, I hated them. They were so big, so swollen, but the shape was horrible. They looked like pointy cones. Think Madonna in that cone corset. That is what my boobs looked like. They were like pointy from the front, they were pointy from the side. Even Lewis, I think, was worried. He was like, I know that he was trying to be really nice, but also like, what the hell are those? And they were also quite far apart. Like I felt like I had so much like my boobs were out here, they were like so much side boob. I'm not gonna lie, I freaked out, I panicked, I was like, what have I done? I just feel like I have big cone tits. No, but I went in for my follow up, and Karidis was like, look, like they need to fluff, they need to drop, they need to settle. But now, like more and more, I'm loving them, because my main concern as well was I didn't want like my boobs to look really like stuck on, fake boobs. That was just, I'd rather not have had the procedure done. So I am really happy with them now. But the one thing I will say is I thought getting a boob job was going to give me instant confidence, and it didn't. You do have to be patient. You have to give yourself at least 6 weeks. I feel like now I'm like 9 weeks post-op, and I'm finding that I'm only starting to really feel more confident in things I wear. There's things that you will look instantly better in with bigger boobs, and there are things that will look a little bit slutty. I don't know if I really like that word, but there are certain things that I can't wear in the same way that I did when I was flat chested. Do bear that in mind. I feel like mine are definitely coming in without a bra. They look really natural. I am happy in a nutshell with how they look now, but you do have to give it time. Take pictures. I took weekly pictures and they changed so much, honestly. From like week 1 to week 4, they are constantly changing, so you have to be patient. One thing I will say as well, if you can, I would wait and hold off to get them done in like autumn, winter, because for me, I really have struggled wearing the surgery bra. I had to wear mine for 6 weeks. I know some surgeons are different, but my surgeon said I had to wear my surgery bra for 6 weeks, couldn't take it off. And I know some surgeons say 2 weeks and then you can go braless, but for me, I felt like I needed the bra to support me, but also I really struggled. We had a heat wave. I can't wear anything. It either had to be high necked, I couldn't wear those cute racer tanks, or like it had to be a smock dress that was long sleeved and high neck. But if you can organize it in a way where you can have it done in the autumn or winter months, honestly, you'll feel so much more comfortable, because you can cover up in jumpers, like literally just pull them over your head and not worry about this ugly sports bra poking through. I think if you've got an office job or something like that, it's different, but for me, my whole job revolves around trying clothes on and, you know, wearing clothes, so I really did struggle, I'm not gonna lie. Is how they look now the end result, or will they change? So no, they'll, like I said, they're the gift that keeps on giving. They'll fluff, they will. So fluff means that they'll just look more natural. They'll look more like natural boobs. And the one thing I'll say that my surgeon did, and I'll have to give him a little round of applause, is they look, to me, without a bra as well, like obviously I can get that really nice projection. They look really full in a sports bra, but without a bra, they look really natural. And that's what I wanted. I wanted people to be like, are they real or are they fake? Because I know some look like really round, stuck on balls. They're really high. Like mine were like up here when I first had them done, and they do drop, and I can like move them. I can, you know, like press them together now. I couldn't at first. They weren't moving at all. They just were not budging, but they will change. They'll just get more and more natural, and I'll just probably love them more and more as time goes on. How long can they stay on until you need, how long can they stay on? They're stuck till you need replacements. So they say that you should look at having them changed every 10 years. There are things you can do. I think you can have an ultrasound just to check that everything's okay. So I probably will have to look in about 10 years at having them changed. But if I have children, I can still breastfeed as well, because I went under the muscle. Then my boobs, probably I'll be picking them up from the floor anyway, so I'll probably look at maybe having a lift or something. But some people go their whole life with just having one, but obviously I am gonna keep an eye on them and, you know, see how the twins are doing, so to speak. When going into the surgery, you do have to mentally think, okay, in 10 years time I might have to fork out another 7 grand, so it isn't going to be feasible for everybody. But do you know what, money comes and money goes. Like honestly, I know that is slightly irresponsible, but your happiness is way more important. You'll probably find that money somewhere, or there are so many finance options out there as well. Have you been going back and forth on getting it done? Is it worth it? Yes. So I think I first decided at 20 I wanted to have it done, but I was like, you know what, I'm still really young, and also I just thought maybe I can put this insecurity to bed. And actually, probably in the later part of my 20s, so 26, 27, I didn't feel as insecure about my boobs, and like any insecurity, it rears its ugly head, and it just got, I wasn't even doing it for like my boyfriend or boyfriends in the past, but having to keep my bra on and not wanting anybody to see me without a bra. And it was actually more how I felt in clothes and how dissatisfied I felt when I was naked, that I was just like, you know what, Gemma, if you can do this for yourself and financially you can afford to do it, why the hell not? And that's That is for me the turning point. And you know what, the biggest regret I have, and I know everyone says this, the biggest regret I have is not doing it sooner. Honestly, I wish I'd done this sooner. I mean, I would have had so much fun in my 20s. Do you think it's realistic for a mum with young children to get them done, worried about recovery time? Is the pain something you quickly forget? So for me, my recovery was horrendous. I went into the surgery a little smug because I thought I'm fit, I'm healthy, I train chest at the gym. I've done chest days before, and my surgeon actually said it's gonna feel like you've done 100 press-ups. That's how it's gonna feel. And I felt like, you know that pain you get like all over here, across your chest and under here, like when you put your coat on after a chest day. I thought, that's fine, it's going to be a walk in the park. One of my best friends had it done. She was absolutely fine. She actually has 2 children, and she had a lift as well, which is obviously a more invasive procedure than I had done. And she was carrying her kids and putting them into their car seats. Day 3 after surgery, I was like, it's going to be a walk in the park for me. Oh my god, you do forget the pain. You do, so you do and you don't. So I can look back and obviously recall and remember how bad it was. It's more that I just felt completely incapable of doing anything for myself. Like, I do not know what I would have done if I didn't have Lewis here. Realistically, you will need someone with you for the first 3 days at least. You know, I couldn't sit up unassisted on my own, and it's little things that you think that you take for granted that you use your chest muscles for, like pulling a plug out, pushing the flush on the toilet. I was actually okay with that, and I could lift my arms like straight after the surgery. I never couldn't do this. It was just more like stabbing pains and just like a heaviness on my chest. And I really had to start using my core muscles, that's for sure, like to get me out of bed. But everyone's different. That's the thing. You might be fine, but just, I felt like after the vlogs I watched, there were girls going out for cocktails on day 3 and 4, and sweet Jesus, how did they do that? I'm sorry. I don't know if they're lying or they don't want to admit their feelings because they feel they don't want to be vulnerable online, or they don't necessarily, you know, that it's kind of self-inflicted pain. But for me, I feel like a lot of those girls are not, or women shall I say, are not telling the truth, because how could my experience be so bad and my surgeon was so good? Honestly, like I don't understand. But just take my experience on board. Your recovery might be a walk in the park, but just bear in mind that mine was quite painful. Would you do it again or recommend it to others? So yeah, for me, obviously, do bear in mind, like I said, you're not going to gain confidence overnight. You don't wake up from your surgery and have this instant confidence. Personally, you need the 6 weeks to fully recover. Like I said, I'm not even 3 months post-op yet. I am loving the results now, but I did feel quite insecure, which is something actually I wasn't expecting. I think it was more because I felt like I couldn't, it's like I didn't know how to dress. Like for me, I don't struggle with putting outfits together, and I was there like, I don't know what to wear, I don't know how to dress this sports bra, and that for me was a struggle. I don't want to be here promoting surgery, but I would recommend it to other people because, like I said, I just wish I'd done it sooner. Have you noticed any back or shoulder pain from the weight, or are they really light? So no, I don't have back pain. The one thing I will say, and this is actually what Karidis said, he's like, just make sure that I have a tendency, I've always had really bad posture. I just need to make sure that I push my shoulders back, but then I feel like I'm like, hey, look at my new titties. No, they're not heavy. They're really not heavy at all. So I don't feel, yeah. I mean, I do have to like roll my shoulders occasionally, but no, I haven't had any pain. How long until fully recovered? So I have kind of touched on this. For me, my surgeon said 6 weeks. You can't go into the gym for at least 4 weeks, and I don't really want you doing, like, after 4 weeks, see how you feel. There was no way that I could have done any upper body after 4 weeks. I needed the full 6 weeks, and even then I did try and go to the gym after 6 weeks. If you've been following me for a while, I'm really I lead a very active lifestyle. I love the gym. upper body is one of my favorite things to train, so that was quite daunting going into this surgery knowing that I'm not going to be able to exercise. So after 6 weeks I went back and started doing just like loads of like lower body. Obviously I couldn't really do squats, but like lots of isolation, the adductor machine. I could do like body weight lunges, body weight squats if I wanted to. I feel for me personally I needed the full 6 weeks. Now obviously 9 weeks post-op I'm fully back to normal. There's nothing I really can't do. Obviously I'm not training chest at the gym. I don't think I'll ever train chest again. I don't think it's really recommended. Karidis said that he didn't say that I can't train chest or do upper body exercises. I mean, you listen to your body at the end of the day. There are some exercises, for example, if I'm doing like the lat pull down, I can feel it like in the side of my implants. Like it's not painful or anything, it's just I can feel it. Some people really, it's a walk in the park for them. They can be back in the gym after 3 weeks, but I was more concerned about getting the best result. Like if I, you know, ballsed it up, I would only have myself to blame, and I've wanted this done for the longest time, that I just wanted to give my twins the best like chance possible. So yeah, your surgeon will give you more details about that. Do ask those questions, but for me, yeah, 6 weeks for sure. Why do all fake boobs have a huge gap? So this is actually something I wanted to talk about because it isn't a regret of mine, but the one thing I will say is I feel like I wasn't fully informed on the gap that I would have. I do have a gap, so I don't know if you can see, like there, I do have a gap, but bear in mind that my boobs are pushed together right now. I'd say that my gap is like that without a bra, which, let's face it, natural boobs all have a gap, most of them. My boobs before, so actually I forgot what my natural boobs look like. They were terrible. I saw a before picture when I went in for my 6-week follow-up with Karidis. I forgot what they look like, and wow, I'm just so happy now. But it's hard to tell because my boobs were a lot smaller. What I had was a lot of like, I had no projection up here and a lot like down here, but towards the side. It's all dependent on your chest wall. Everyone has a different chest wall, so some people's gaps are going to be smaller than others. Ultimately, your implant is placed into your breast pocket. Some people are going to be really lucky and their chest wall is going to be smaller, so the distance is going to be smaller, which means that they're going to sit naturally closer together. But you know what, I'm really happy now. I wasn't at first. They were quite wide, but they've come closer together. I mean, I think that answers your question, whereby the reason you have a gap is probably because a lot of women naturally have a wider chest wall. That's just your anatomy, you can't change. Don't feel like I was fully informed on that. So when I came out of surgery, I think I had an expectation that I would have a natural cleavage without a bra. So do talk to your surgeon about that. But to be honest, compared to my befores, I'm so happy. You can wear push-up bras, or you know, all my sports bras, I have like a really good cleavage. Like they look like natural boobs, I think, and that is what I need to keep reminding myself. That is exactly what I told my surgeon. I don't want that fake stuck on ball look, and he's given me what I asked for. Surgeon details, please. My surgeon's name is Dr. Alex Karidis at the Karidis clinic. I actually only saw 2 people. I know 6 people that have had their breast augmentation with Karidis. They've all been absolutely thrilled. When you meet with your surgeon in your consultation, quite a few now you have to pay for, so do bear that in mind, because if you go for a consultation and decide you don't want to go with your surgeon and you do that 6 times, that's an extra £1,000 on top. But obviously you need to get it right, but you just get a feeling. I met with Karidis, he's so lovely. He reassured me. I mean, he is a man of few words, but I feel like you have to just ask the questions that you want to ask. Sat down, obviously met with him, and first and foremost, he told me about the risks. I was like, whoa, give me a chance to take my coat off, which for me is a sign of a good surgeon. He's not trying to lead you down a path of have this done. I want to take your money, which I felt a little bit with Maya. Obviously, I know some people have gone with Maya and they've been thrilled with their results, so that's just my personal experience, but I felt like it was a bit salesy with Maya. Whereas with Karidis, everyone was super friendly, the staff, patient coordinators. Karidis told me of the risks. He told me about breast implant illness without me even asking him. He was very honest. He said, look, you're lacking projection in the top, you've got nothing there. You know, he said that is completely normal, that's what boobs look like, but you're here, there's something that I can do for you. So it was at the Karidis clinic, which is in St John's Wood. It's in a private hospital where all his surgeries are undertaken. Definitely do your research. Look at his before and afters online. The one thing I will say is it depends on what look you're going for. If you want a more natural look, Karidis is, you're going to love his results. If you want a more fake look, then somewhere like Maya might be better for you. Karidis didn't actually offer me teardrop. I think teardrop are the more natural ones, but actually he held the implant up. So the implant, think of it like that, it's a round silicone circular implant. You hold it up, and when you hold it like that, it naturally falls into a teardrop shape, and he said that is what will give you the more natural look. Do they feel part of you now or still feel weird since the operation? So I feel like they're my boobs. Obviously I know that they are fake, but I think because they don't look fake without a bra. You know what, I'm going to insert a little video here. I've just popped on a Zara, you know, one of those like cropped basics, and that is, you know, I'm not wearing a bra underneath that, and you'll see that they obviously don't sit as like high up or pushed together because of the like sports bra I'm wearing. Yeah, I feel like they look really natural and they feel like mine, and now I can move them. So after my follow-up appointment, my surgeon said like you have to start massaging them. So the massage will be like you have to press your like implant down like that, so that will like push it down into the breast pocket, and do the same like that. And then the other one was like hold for 3 seconds and release, and do that on different parts, on the top, in the middle, and on the bottom. So I've been doing those little exercises or massages, shall I say. But yeah, they feel like mine. I love them. They were so firm. They're really like starting to kind of get less firm and feel more like natural boobs. They feel like they're mine, and I love that. What size were you before and what's your end size now? I started off as a 32A. I'm now a 32C. I went bra shopping, bought 4 new bras. Honestly, it was like the best feeling ever. I felt like after watching all the videos, I roughly knew that I probably would go for around 315, but obviously when I went into my consultation I was offered 315. Like the range was 315 to 375. 375 were too big. To be honest, I feel like I could have even gone a tiny bit smaller, but the one thing I will say is I don't suffer from boob greed. I don't wish that I'd gone bigger. Can you breastfeed with a boob job? So I can breastfeed. I went under the muscle. That was one thing that I did ask the surgeon. Like, I do definitely want to have children, and I feel like I would really love the option to be able to breastfeed. Karidis reassured me like with that. The only thing for me is I don't know how long I will breastfeed for, because obviously like I did pay for these and I want them to look as good as possible for as long as possible. So this actually is really important. Did you have a pic that you wanted them to look like? Considering breast augmentation but can't find any after photos that I like. So I feel like it is important to go in and say, look, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. I went in there and said to Karidis, I don't want them to look too fake, I don't want them to look too big, and I really want to be a good size C. And he said, okay, that's fine. I know that I take on board what you're saying. Cup size is irrelevant. What it boils down to is how like they look on you. You can show me all of these pictures, but everybody's result is going to be different. That's the thing. And I think it's good to have that in mind, but also know that you're not necessarily going to get the same exact identical look as someone else. Our chest wall is different. Our natural boobs are different to start with. So do have them in mind and take them to your surgeon. But I think what you've got to do, which is really hard to do, is once you've found your surgeon, you've got to put your trust in him and what he is saying, essentially. How long do you have to wear the post-op bras for? So for me, it was 6 weeks. 6 weeks of hell. This is the Macon one. This is the one that Karidis suggested that I get. They give you a list of bras. So I actually got both of the bras that Karidis suggested for me. This is the most hideous bra I think I have ever seen, and I can't wait to throw it away, but it's really good because it kind of has got like hooks at the front. So I would actually really recommend you getting a nude one and a black one, because the nude one you can wear under anything, and then the black one, I just feel like it's good to chop and change. I had 2, so I could wash them. I got this one in a size medium actually, and to be honest, I think that was a good size for me, because this actually felt really tight the first couple of weeks after my surgery, because you do really swell, but then it started to get looser. And this was the black one I had. I actually preferred this one. This is the M&S one. I will link it down below. So I did get this one in a 34C, I think. So it was a complete gamble with the size. I couldn't actually put this on for the first couple of weeks. But this one I actually felt like I was more supported in, and I would wear this to the gym now as well. This is so comfortable. I love it. So I'll link that one for you. But yeah, I had to wear mine for 6 weeks. I really didn't enjoy it. Actually, sometimes I do sleep in the black one, just if I feel like I want a bit of support. Okay, how long were you bedbound for? After a week, I was like, I need to go out, I need to go for a walk. Like, I feel like a caged animal. It was really warm outside as well, and I went for like a 15-minute walk to get a nice coffee, thinking I was okay, and I was not okay. I wanted to go out, my body felt able to do so, but there's something about being at home, and then the minute you step outside you feel completely different. And I got home and I was exhausted. I spent about a week and a half pretty much in bed. Like, I was walking around the house doing things really slowly, but yeah, I needed like the full 2 weeks to recover. And don't feel bad for taking some downtime. Recover. I thought I was going to read loads of books, edit like loads of videos in bed. That didn't happen. Painkillers actually knocked me out. I took Codamol and made me sleep, and actually that's what your body needs. Rest and more rest. Biggest pro and biggest con. Oh, so the biggest pro now, I would say, is I feel so much more confident. I feel so much more comfortable in my own skin. I've had people DM me actually and be like, you just have a post-surgery glow about you. And I think that is, I just feel more confident. And then the con, I would say, would be, it's kind of the opposite of that. It was that I didn't feel as confident in the beginning because I didn't like the shape. They are the gift that keeps on giving. I would say for me, I was a little bit uncomfortable at first about the gap, but then I reminded myself that they're so much better than what I started with. So I'd say, yeah, that for me would be the biggest pro and the biggest con. Do you love them as much as you thought you would? Yes. Like, obviously in the beginning they look like cones. Did not love that for me. You have to be patient, honestly. Like, I was saying to my friends, have I made a mistake? Do I need reconstructive surgery? Like, I am a bit dramatic and I tend to catastrophize things. You really have to be patient, like, you really do. And it's annoying because it's like, okay, I'm paying all this money, I'm gonna have this procedure done, and you think actually it's just gonna be 2 weeks downtime, but it's not. It's a waiting game. It is the gift that keeps on giving, and to be honest, I feel like I'm still going to be feeling they're just going to be getting better and better. And some people say you actually have to wait like a year for them to fully settle. One thing I would say as well is I thought, okay, I'm going to wake up from the surgery, I'm going to put on a bikini, and I'm going to be like, yes, I literally feel like $1 million. And I probably feel like only now I'm starting to feel like that, you know. What did they tell you about the possibility of your body reacting to a foreign body long term? Did you get a therapist assigned to you before, after the procedure? How do you feel emotionally about it? So obviously, like I said, I touched upon this, Karidis, when I sat down in the consultation with him. The first thing he told me about were the risks. You can get rippling, capsular contracture, I think it's called. There's I think a breast cancer that is associated with implants, but mine are very high grade implants. They're Motiva, a really well-known brand. I mean, Karidis was slapping the implant down on the table in my consultation, and they're not breaking, like, honestly. And even if it was to split in half somehow, it's like a jelly bean texture. It's not like the saline ones where that is obviously a foreign body that would be going into your like bloodstream. I was just rest assured. Also, my biggest concern was breast implant illness, but actually when you look into it, and I don't want to get loads of hate on this video, but there's not actually that much scientific evidence to suggest that the two are linked. I had a bit of downtime after my consultation. I thought about it. They give you a call-off period, like I said. I definitely had support from surgeon if I needed, from my consultation to my surgery. I had a patient coordinator assigned to me, which, you know, gave me regular calls just to check in on me, check that everything was okay, gave me their mobile number. I could reach them at any time, which I did. I am a warrior. Emotionally, I feel fine. I feel great after. The biggest thing for me was the downtime and not feeling like I could fend for myself. That was as hard as it got, really. And obviously I was in a bit of pain. It was so tender to touch. One thing I will say as well, my nipples were excruciatingly painful. They were oversensitive. I know some people go one or the other, they can lose complete sensitivity. Mine, when I like took off my or opened my sports bra or my surgery bra, even when it skimmed over my nipple, oh sweet lord, that was so painful. Even now they've only started to get better. Do you think they're a bit big for your frame? They looked big. Only time I might feel like they look big is when I compare to my old like videos and things, my old gym videos, but that was because I literally had nothing, so anything is going to look bigger. And I do feel like they look big in this sports bra, but that's because there's like padding in this sports bra and they're pushed together. Like, I do feel like they look biggest in my gym wear, because you do, you know, your sports bras are designed to hold your boobs up for exercise and support them. So in like day-to-day little tank tops and dresses, I don't feel they do look big. I feel like they're really in proportion to my body. They don't look too big for my frame. I think that's because I'm tall and I do have quite broad shoulders. Like, naturally my shoulders are quite broad, so then they go in, you know. And I've been measured at a 32C. They do, I feel like they look a little bit bigger at times than a 32C, but I've come out at the cup size that I wanted. 355cc on someone who is much shorter with a petiter frame, they're gonna look ginormous, but I feel like on me I hold them well and I'm really happy with them. So yeah, I could have maybe gone a little bit smaller, but I think I wouldn't have gone smaller than 335 or 325, although 325 wasn't offered to me. It was 315, 335, 355 and 375, and I felt when I put the 315s in the consultation, I felt underwhelmed. So for me, it was either going to be 335 or 355. At first they did feel ginormous. I did think, oh god, what have I done, what have I done? Or just some tops looked ridiculous. I don't really feel like I can wear those really skimpy little bralettes anymore, because it does just look completely different. But then there's other things that I can wear and feel so confident in that I couldn't wear when I had really small boobs. I just felt like, you know, when you have that like excess material just like flapping around, I don't have that anymore. That is what I wanted. I wanted to fill my clothes out, so they might be a bit too big for you, but it's subjective. I feel I love them and I feel super confident, so that is all that matters. Do you feel different when you touch them? Will they remain that full at the top part? So like, they feel firm, like little bouncy balls. I couldn't move them at first, but now I can like squish them. They move. They will drop, obviously, because gravity will take effect. But the reason Karidis put a high profile implant on me, or in me shall I say, is because I lacked the projection on the top. So yeah, probably the fullness will stay there. Probably do maybe another update in like 6 months time or a year's time to tell you how I'm getting on. But yeah, I feel like for now they will stay quite full, but obviously in different tops they look different, so they might not look this full in my little Zara just basic tank top, for example. When they're like pushed up, they are going to look fuller on the top. I'm just midway through editing, and I wanted to say there was one thing that I missed out as well, and it's, so I've got this little Zara tank on. Probably you can see a little bit better. They're really like movable and squishy. I feel like they look less big and more natural in this top. But the one thing I forgot to mention is nipples. Erect nipples is a thing. This is me constantly. I don't know if you can see that. They show through everything. I feel like I have what's it tits, and I don't think there's much you can do about it, so do bear that in mind. So I wanted to quickly talk to you about scars and scar cream. These are the two scar like treatments I'm using. Good old bio oil. You can get this in like Boots online. I'll link it below for you if you want to order it online. So I am really trying to be good with my scar cream, applying them twice daily. Obviously if I go out on a night out and I'm a bit pissed, my priority is not to start rubbing in my scar cream. This one actually, Kilo Coat I think it's called, is also really good. I will put it under my scars. So I don't know if I can show you my scars without getting this like demonetized or taken down, but it's a really thin line. They're about that big. So that is what my scar is looking like. Still a little bit red. I didn't use any scar cream for 6 weeks. Obviously my surgeon recommended that I don't, because they need to fully heal, and I've only been using them for like 2 weeks now. But it's actually such a thin line that when my boobs do fall a bit more, you're not going to be able to see them. They're going to be in the crease. I'm really sorry it's been a long one. I really just wanted to cover absolutely everything for you guys. There were some things actually I wrote down in the notes section of my phone to say, like post-surgery. So I was really nauseous when I woke up. There was a tightness. It wasn't so much pain. It was just more like I felt like just really tight. Sometimes breathing was a little bit difficult. The incision area did sting a little bit, nothing unbearable. Like sometimes when I sat up I felt like I was ripping the stitches, but I think actually that was more the dressing and the kind of glue of the dressing against my skin. So I was so sleepy from medication, it really wiped me out. I found that sipping water really slowly helped because I did feel quite sick. When I woke up I felt really hot, like I was gonna get you know when you're about to be sick and you get like really hot and shaky and then really cold. I felt like that. And also I had a really like metallic, I was burping up a metallic taste in my mouth just as I woke up for a couple of hours. I think that was the medication and the anesthetic. So I woke up, I did say this earlier, my boobs felt like cones and really small when I was lying down, like straight after when I still had like my robe on, and then when I stood up they were like really big and swollen. I did start to feel soreness around the side of each boob, but then I had all my medication, kept on top of that. I had tender breasts for about 3 weeks, like really tender. I said earlier as well, my nipples were super sensitive, but now they're fine. So the top part was really sore, the nipples were sore. I had shooting pains, stinging in the incision, so nothing too much. But one thing I will say as well that I didn't stumble upon on any of the vlogs that I watched, and actually my surgeon didn't tell me this, I found out for myself on the day. So the nurse walked me down to surgery, and I don't really suffer from anxiety, but wow, that was, I still remember it. It was just so clinical, really bright lights. It's like something out of a movie, but like a scary movie. I don't know, like a psych ward, and it just looks really cold, really clinical. I just remember walking down, and I've never had surgery before, and that petrified me. Walking down to surgery, walking into the anaesthetist room, like obviously it's an amazing hospital, it's a private hospital, but I didn't know that that was a thing. I don't know if that was just a thing for me. I thought I would be like wheeled down or something, but no, I had to walk down in like my gown and my slipper socks. And to be fair, once they like reconfirmed my details and asked me a few questions and put something in my arm, and the anaesthetist literally said a few words to me and I conked out, that was the last thing I remember. I think they said, oh, like if you're outside, because it was a really hot day when I went into surgery, and they were like, if you were outside, you know, what would you be doing now? I was like, oh, I'd love a G&T. And they were like, oh, what else is your favourite drink? And I went, espresso much. Boom, literally asleep. Sleeping Beauty. And then the next thing I know, I'm waking up, coming around. That's when I felt really sick. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be sick, I'm gonna be sick. And they gave me like more anti-nausea tablets. I think that's when I had the metallic-y taste in my mouth. I really didn't like that, and I didn't think anyone really spoke about that. So I don't know if I touched upon that on my recovery vlog, but I thought I would mention that as well. Just want you guys to be well informed, and I always want to be as open and honest as possible. So yeah, that was a part of the process that really freaked me out and I wasn't prepared for. Yeah, I really hope that I've covered everything. Like I said, guys, if I've missed anything, DM me at gemmatalbot is my Instagram. Just pop a comment below and I'll answer it. I really just hope that this is the one video you watch and I've given you all the information you need to make a decision. Like I said, I'm not promoting surgery in any way. Do your research. Think about it. It's not a decision you should take lightly. It's not a decision I took lightly. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very, very soon in my next video. Hope you have a lovely week, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye, guys.